us your path, your Emmy that you received, and what's going on with you in the world of the DMV now. You said something before we had a challenge about how the cost was so much different from DMV versus the ATL, which was surprising to me.
Everybody's
Uh,
surprised at that. But it might be also timing. I mean, like the house I'm in now, I bought in like '06, which overall it was, I guess it was great timing because I wouldn't get in DC right now. It's too expensive. And I had a townhouse built or whatnot. And luckily I held on to that when I moved to Atlanta because then with COVID and whatnot, prices are crazy,
oh
rent
gosh.
is crazy. And then I knew they were gonna I don't like renting anyways, because you can't control anything and they're gonna go up. So um, after, I was in a relationship when I was in Atlanta. So when that ended, I didn't really wasn't really feeling being down there.
Mhm.
Um, Even though my dad's side is from East Point, Georgia.
Okay.
Let me come back and reset. And then I was like, more things are legal in DC. I probably can triple what I was making down in Atlanta.
Mhm.
So let me move back, reset, get in my house, and see if I can get a location up here. So I
Yeah.
moved back, and I was freelancing at the time, and the market didn't tank, whatever, crash until like probably about a few months after I moved back. But then looking for locations, I just had a hard time. I went through like several agents, several landlords, and what I realized, to me, this is my philosophy. Down south, Atlanta is very small business friendly. I think black business friendly, black female business friendly. I opened up really quickly down there. I didn't have any issues, and I felt like I had the support of the community. When I'm
Hmm.
coming up here, I feel like it's very big box friendly. Like places I was trying to get in, they wanted like the big box stores, like I don't know, Chick-fil-A and stuff like that.
Right, right.
Um, it wasn't so small business friendly. I feel like up north is more it wasn't a small business friendly. I mean,
Right.
maybe that's just my experience. So I had a hard time finding a location. I did open a little small shop in a office building. This guy had a brilliant idea because of COVID. What do you call it? Companies were not working and abandoned floors, so he would create in the floors little shops, kind of like a salon suite, but like people, there were lash technicians, there were estheticians, and someone like me, but I needed a storefront where people could see me. People had a hard time. But with that, I started also doing loose herbs to get people in the door. So, and I noticed there was a lot of people were looking for that. They were finding me for loose herbs, not CBD.
Tell
So
me about loose herbs. Tell us a little bit more
herbs,
about
like
that.
what I'm drinking now, like green tea, um, ashwagandha. I should have had some up here with me.
I know ashwagandha is fantastic for anti-inflammatory
There's a ton of things.
property.
There's so
Yeah.
many herbs. I couldn't even possibly get all of them. But like I don't know, women going through menopause, like black cohosh, I would carry. Um, Anything like St. John's wort, like those are popular ones that you hear. So I had because I would go to a store here and I saw people going in there, getting loose herbs, and I felt like it was very unorganized. And I'm like, I can do it better. So I had it in nice jars and whatnot, and I would measure it, but it was a little taxing on me. But I realized that was a need here. Oh, and I would make sea moss gel. I didn't do that in Atlanta, and I should have.
I love some sea moss gel. It is so powerful. What's prompted your interest and your love in creating herbs? I know it sounds like this is before your diagnosis. What
No,
is? Oh, it wasn't. It was after.
honestly, my diagnose. So I kind of I would say I was kind of healthy being raised. Like I'm like my dad. My dad had me and my brother take, what do you call it, like Metamucil, like fiber and stuff like that. We didn't eat sugar cereals or whatnot. My brother and my mom are snackers and sweets person. I'm not really a sweets person. So I thought that was healthy. But now in really, really being into this, it's like really reading the labels and not processed stuff or whatnot. So when I got diagnosed, that pushed me really when I got diagnosed, when I did a lot of reading, it pushed me into trying to limit the amount of toxins I was exposed to. So I started creating my own body butters. creating my own everything, deodorant, all types of stuff. So, and I was big on, so in DC, medical marijuana was legal at the time. So I had a medical marijuana card. So I would go to a dispensary here, and this dispensary that I chose was a dispensary where it was family owned, and the dad had MS. So I said, I want to go there because they probably know more. I'm not somebody to just get high or whatnot. So I went there, and I remember talking to the daughter, and she was the one who introduced me and said CBD was good for MS and autoimmune. I just thought it was all weed. So I was like, okay, what is it? And so she gave me a tincture that was made for like a little boy who had like multiple seizures a day, and
Wow.
then brought his seizures down. So I take the tincture. Don't know if it was doing anything, but I was doing it religiously before I moved to Atlanta. So when I moved to Atlanta, I actually was going to open a beauty supply store. I had done a lot of beauty supply training down there to open a store, but it was hard to find a location because there's beauty supply stores everywhere. And I felt like the prices they were giving me was because it was a beauty supply. But I saw CBD was legal, and I was such a strong advocate for natural remedies. They put us on these harsh medications that there's no cure for. So like, why
Oh
am I?
gosh, the
Yeah,
medications are ridiculous.
I was like, it's
Yeah,
gonna do harm. But so then so with that, and I opened the CBD store, and so the herbs. So, and I wasn't into the like loose herbs when I was down there. I didn't know. I mean, I do it for myself. I drink teas and stuff, but I didn't really know much. I was into the CBD, and as you see, like my store was CBD stuff or natural um, uh, products. Um, some things I had my body butters. I didn't really push it as much. Some people would buy them. I did like my sugar scrubs and stuff like that. But when I moved back, that's when I got into it
you have
more,
such a
more so.
you have such an entrepreneurial spirit, right? Because you're talking about opening this business and that business and that. Where does that come from? Is that like a family thing, or just like the Janine thing? The
It's a genuine thing.
running this.
My parents are very, at first they don't understand. They're very old school, like work your 9 to 5. Like my dad worked at GM, my mom worked at the bank. She's a retired mortgage underwriter. So they're like, you go get your check and go. But as you know, things have changed since back in the day.
Right.
You're not working jobs for 35 years because your place isn't loyal to you. They'll let you go in a heartbeat. And I also I went on the creative side anyway, so that was different. Even when I was producing, I had small businesses. I had a gourmet brownie business, and then I had my body butters. I always did my body butters. So um, but this I needed to focus though, and that's where I'm at now because I felt like jack of all trade, master of none. There's so many things to do that I'm just inspired by and helping people, especially in this world today. But
You know that quote you just said.
uh-huh.
The real quote is what you said, but then at the end of it, there's another piece that no one says, and the quote, the last part is better than a master of one.
Oh, I never knew that.
That's the end. That's the actual real end of that quote.
I thought it
So,
was master of none.
right. So jack of all trades, master of none is better than a master of one. Is the end.
Oh, let me do that then.
And
Okay.
I researched that and I put it like in the front of my thing because I think I have a similar kind of way of doing things like you do, where
Yeah.
I love to have multiple things happening at the same time. And people would sometimes give you poo poo, like, "What's how can you do this? How can you do that?" It's like, I don't know. That helps my spirit.
It helps your spirit. And
Mm.
guess what? You put all your eggs in one basket. Like right now, with the way of the world and the job market, when you lose that job and you were relying on it, you don't have anything else to pick up on. So I still got, that's why like I have the different websites, this whole platform that I created. Because I guess just to also reiterate, last year I got certified. I trained for a year to be a natural health practitioner. So I'm certified as that. And while I was in Atlanta, before I opened the store, I did certifications for meditation. Before I left, I got certified in aromatherapy, got certified in coaching, all those things. So I'm kind of wrapping it now all under this umbrella of health and wellness because I feel like that is my passion. Because I just like helping people, helping others. A lot of people come to me and open up, and like folks are just going through it, whether it's stress, anxiety, or if they got chronic illness, autoimmune, to addictions. Um, so creating this whole like what is it, a ecosphere, ecosystem, uh,
Yeah.
wellness with the travel, which like what you're showing now, which is accessibility in travel, and wellness travel. Definitely want to do retreats and spas and whatnot. But as someone who likes to travel, um, I had to travel differently with MS. Like certain things, I realized I had to get rid of my ego at a certain point and get in a wheelchair to go from gate to gate because I realized that preserved my energy. So certain things of tips and tricks for people like us,
Yeah.
so they're able to explore the world um, and whatever, enjoy life.
That's such a powerful thing you're saying. I had this opportunity to travel back in February to
Mhm.
go international, and I had no reservations in walking with my cane and saying, "Hey, can I get in front of this?" And then when I was coming back, my plane was canceled,
Yeah.
and I had all of these ladies circle around me because they could see I was massively exhausted because I was sitting in the gate for many, many hours,
Hmm.
and then the plane got canceled for an entire 2 days.
Oh, wow.
And but these little people came around me and they started talking. They were all Japanese, and so one lady would say one sentence in English, another person would say something else in English, and then I said, I don't know what you guys are doing. All I know is I need some help. So then the fella came and he put me in a chair,
Hmm.
and they put me in a room, and I just left it up to God because there's a lot of people complaining. Oh my God, my flight is canceled. But I was like, I was gonna sit there and I didn't say anything. I was just like, I just like looked up and prayed, and then it got answered because I was in one of the nicest hotels I've ever been in my life. It did mean I was in Japan for an extra 2 days,
Hmm.
but it was. I just know that I can't stress myself like I used to.
Yep.
Yeah, I
That's,
just can't. I walked up and down Japan all for 9 days, and if I needed to sit down, I just sat down.
yeah, that's the thing, and like and helping people and knowing their body,
Mhm.
and don't be ashamed for certain things. It's like something I've even in talking with recently. We come from a society where it's like we keep things inside and or we hide things because it's like I don't know, taboo, or society says we need to be like this when that's not the case. And with a lot of things that I've done, like, and more people are like, man, yeah, I didn't even know, like they thought they were alone when they were going through certain things, and it's like
Right.
you're not. And even like for myself, so and even it's frustrating, and then I don't want to embarrass people that I'm either traveling with, like. But now, like, I just went to Punta Cana for my birthday, and I was like, I'm just letting y'all know I'm getting a wheelchair going from gate to gate. Then I realized the perks to it. I don't have to get a fast pass. It's going to fast pace me through the thing. They say that you only, something I want to do with the soulful travel, like certain with the tips, is like it'll say that you can only bring one person. But then I was able to bring, there was four of us traveling on the same flight.
Right.
Everybody went with me, and we all fast passed through. We all went through customs fast. Coming back was the best because the we might not have made our flight. It was probably a 3 hour wait in customs, but we just,
Um,
I got in the wheelchair and I was like, you don't have to come with me. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I'm still trying to be sexy and cool, but it's not sexy and cool to be tripping down walking in the airport. 'Cause there was a time in Atlanta, 'cause, Atlanta airport is crazy. Time in Atlanta, I want to take wheelchairs and walking, and I'm exhausted. But I'm thinking I'm looking fine. And I remember one of the flight or the whatever airport people came and was like, asking, "Are you okay? Are you fine?" I was like, "I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine." And I was really kind of defensive. But I was like, I wasn't fine. I was tired, and I was frustrated. You know how you get frustrated, and I was embarrassed. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm trying to be cute, but I'm not. Take
yeah.
advantage of the things that we can take advantage of. So even more and more, for as long as I've had MS, I'm finding out things. Like I just finally, um, I was going to a neural. This is, we should have this conversation on another podcast. Something for years. I go to physical therapy, And I was like,
Uh-huh.
why am I okay? I'm always coming back. But neurophysical therapy was a game changer. And a lady that I go to here in Virginia, and she's a African American black female, went to Howard University,
Wow.
and she develops equipment and whatnot. And she sees all types. So neuro is like us, the neurological, stroke
Mhm.
patients, ALS, accidents can't walk and whatnot. It was a game changer in working with her, and my partner, who is a personal trainer, had gotten my because my I thought I was like progressing, but they got my but it was just lack
I
of
mean that
muscle.
your MS was progressing. Is
Yeah.
it?
But my neurologist was like, your MRIs are boring. But I was like, they don't know. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm like, something's going
Mhm.
on, but my walking is slowed down. But it was lack of using certain muscles. We kind of compensate. Like when I walk, I might swing my leg or whatnot, but it's so like what neuro PT does and what the my trainer does is it functional training, they targeting these specific muscles, and that makes a game changer versus regular physical therapy. That's a whole
Mm.
other topic for a whole nother time.
Yeah, I
That's
tell you.
I'm gonna start posting about that because that was a game changer after all these years. Because she was getting me to because I told her I was like I got a birthday and I'm going to Punta Cana and I want to have a hot girl summer. And so, and she was, all the training that I was doing with her. I mean, it's pricey, so that's a whole nother thing. But in utilizing these things, we get it's unfortunate, we have these diagnoses, but there are some things that we are can be afforded. And especially living in DC, DC has a lot of perks for
Mhm.
people with disabilities, seniors. Like, so the thing, like I do with the working out, I'm in the pool 3 to 4 times a week, and that is a game changer too. I'm a believer. If you don't use it, you lose it. So I'm always constantly trying to move and to keep my strength up and that muscle memory on top of the health and wellness and natural stuff. I slip up.
Mhm.
Um, I don't eat perfectly all the time. I like my cocktails.
Mhm.
But it's like I think moderation. It's everybody's different. Figuring out what works for you and managing it, um, and managing, like you say, the stress. So,
Yeah, stress is a big one, and
mhm,
it's really not even just for us who have MS.
mhm,
I can see that so many people these days
mhm.
have an unbelievable, inordinate amount of stress,
Yep.
and it's not just the stress about what they're doing day to day. I can see the stress of stuff that happens because we live in a time where we know what's happening everywhere in the world simultaneously.
Uh huh.
So we know also all of that stuff. I think it has a psychological effect on us if we keep hearing, yeah, this place over here had a massive earthquake, and so a whole lot of people passed. But this
Mhm,
first place over here had a massive flood over there. Or there's a war over there. And so on top of all of what we got to deal with,
mhm.
now we're hearing about all of these. And I don't think our brains were created to get that much stimuli about that much crap at the same time. I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think it was made to do that. And I think that creates a weird amount of stress on all of us,
Yes.
especially on us who's, and I'm saying especially just in general, no matter where you are. If you're looking at the news, you're looking at your phone, there's so many ways where you hear the world and what the mess is. It can be traumatizing. And I think it's psychologically affecting us in ways that we don't know.
Oh, absolutely. And definitely like social media, all that stuff. And something I was just thinking the other day, like I thought it was COVID because I was just like, I feel like people are more impatient now. Because I know
Mhm.
coming home, like cars are just don't care. They just, I'm not stopping at this light. I'm not stopping at this. They just driving crazy. And you see all these things with all these big fights breaking out and whatnot, like over little things. And it's
Like,
just
yeah, like why these groups of people fighting all the time? And it doesn't matter where they are. It's not a certain kind of people. There are people literally fighting in every part of the country. Like no matter what their ethnic group is, they fighting. And I'm
they,
like, what that is symptomatic of how people are feeling. And I am a big capitalist, if you will. I love the free trade market. Like it's a kind of a human thing for us to say, I'm gonna start a business tomorrow. I'm gonna do this tomorrow.
mm-hmm,
I think there's a perverse kind of interpretation of that, where people, if people see other people who have so much further from there, from where they are, I think that creates a traumatic event, and then people start doing stuff. They start committing way more criminal acts than they used to.
Yeah.
I think I think it's a psychological thing that's happening with us
Mm-hmm.
in such a way. And then you and I, we've got to sit there and think about all of that, and then think about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do we make sure that we're not, we're not absorbing all of that? You said something earlier about being empathetic,
Yeah.
and that's kind of your where you are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. How do you distance yourself from it? I know how I handle all of this stimuli, and how do I set it aside? How do you handle all the stuff that's coming at you?
I have to take the time to sit back. It's like what I said with the meditation. So meditation always was like a personal thing for me. So definitely taking that time and that quiet space or that breathing to like a big thing now for me is because with MS or whatever is resetting my nervous system. So not being stressed, but it happens. Meditating, um, as I say, like I told you, like my career was very. I loved what I did, working as a producer, but it's stressful. So with those things, I had to change what I was doing, whether if I was leaving a job or whatnot. I don't want to do things that aren't serving me and my health and my purpose. Um, because when you're younger, you're proving yourself, you're moving up. I'm at an age where I'm just like I'm it's a different kind of stress because I'm not working like that, which I'm surprised I'm not really stressed out because before it's like
Yeah.
I'm not nearly making the money I was making, but like
Mhm.
put it in God's hand and it comes. So in meditating and even praying, whether somebody's religious or not, like, and I'm not like, so my partner now, where he's big on we pray every morning and meditate every morning, and I think that's been making a big difference in how we move. He's someone that goes, and just trying to find this balance. Um, because we're not getting any younger. And I'm a believe, you can burn yourself out. And I definitely don't want to be somebody that works, and then I die. That's why trying to have that balance and enjoy. Uh,
Yeah. I tell people, like, if I gotta go, if I'm going on vacation, I ain't waiting.
yeah.
What's the point to wait? Or I don't know what that stuff is about waiting, and then at some particular point in life, then I can go and enjoy life. No, I'm live right now.
Why you can. And that's why
I'm
it's great you went to Japan.
That's right. I'm gonna enjoy life. People told me I was crazy. They were like, "What do you mean you're going to go to Japan for 9 days and walk around with a cane?" I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Yes, I'm going to go all the time, and I'm gonna walk around that country, and I'm gonna enjoy every single moment of it. And
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be massively exhausted, and I'm going to need another week, past the week that I was in, just to recover from the thing."
Yeah.
But I was like, "What am I waiting for? What am I waiting to? What if I'm older? We're already getting all older. To your point.
Yeah.
So what? There's like some miracle moment, then that's when I go and enjoy life.
And then you might not ever have it. Something could happen tomorrow. Just like
That's right.
both of us, like for me, I waited to travel. There's times where I wanted to go and I was waiting on others and I never did it. Now I'm diagnosed with I can't travel like I when I was younger. Um, so I was like, I'm gonna do things now. Because you hear people older, they wait until they retire. By the time they retire, they got all these health ailments. They
That's
can't.
right. You can't move necessarily the same way. My brother and I went. We were supposed to have all of these guy friends that was going to go on a trip because it was a big event,
Mhm.
and they all backed out. They all punked out, and we said, my brother and I said, so whatever. We're going to go, just the two of us. No one else wanted to go. So we created this itinerary. I created this, using Gemini, I created this itinerary for all 10 days of
Uh,
what we were going to do the whole day. And everyone was like, you can't go there 2 days. I can't go and do this. We walked and walked and walked. And I don't know if people were saying something negative to me, because all I know is that the people in Japan were some of the most helpful people I've ever been to in my life.
wow.
There were people who sometimes we were like looking around because we're using our phones, right, to try to find which train station. There would people come up to us in English and help us point us in the right direction
Wow.
all the time. There were people who'd say to me if they see me sitting down somewhere, "Sir, do you need anything?" You know, they were just the nicest human beings I've ever been around. Now, were they saying something negative in Japanese to me? I don't know. I don't know Japanese. All I know is that the people I encountered were fantastic.
Yeah.
It was such a phenomenal, phenomenal trip. And maybe it's because I like going to places where there's cities and people and that kind of thing, or
Hmm.
and or culture. So like one day we went way out of Japan. We went to Yokohama and we went and just walked the Buddhist temple. It was probably one of the highlights of the whole thing for
Wow.
me.
I
It was
love
like going up a mountain. So I walked every single step up that mountain. I was so much in pain, but I was like, yo, I do not give a rat's. I don't about that. I can deal with the pain, but I cannot enjoy my life at this particular moment.
Now you've experienced it and you did it. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I need to go to Japan. I want to do like all of that. Next time you can come to me. Let me help you plan your trip.
Yes, I will indeed.
Mhm.
I talk to people, and sometimes people are like, "Oh yeah, you're going here and there and there." And here's the truth: I live in a society. We live in a society at the moment at this time where we can go anywhere we want to on the planet.
Yeah.
200 years ago, this didn't exist. Like
Yeah.
everyone grew up wherever you were born, you were going to live there for the most part, and that would be your whole life.
Yep.
So as crappy as we think things are in the world, you and I, we can get in a plane right now and
And
just go somewhere.
experience it, explore it. I mean, my big thing is maybe cost, obviously, but
Mhm.
like I wanted to go to Thailand. So I had turned 50. My thing was going to Thailand, but then with things that were going on in the country, was like wasn't sure if we should go there. You know how the traveling was going to be, this that, and third. So I like, well, let me do something. I didn't think anybody's messing with the Caribbean, and I was like, it's a little bit more affordable, and we'll be in and out. Um, and then when I think I'm not like making the money that I used to make, but I just kind of put it in the hands, like it'll come. Like I think
Yeah.
there's a thing that goes around on like Instagram or whatever, where somebody's like, yeah, me with booking 5 flights or 5 trips and don't know where the money's gonna come from, but it's gonna happen.
That was the case. I was like, we got to book it for one day. And I was like, I saved up the money, little bits and pieces here.
Yeah.
And the money that I saved up was the exact amount of money I needed for the flight.
See,
And it just worked out that way.
how long was the
Yeah.
flight, and how did you do on a? I'm sure it's a
Uh,
long flight.
the first going to Japan was horrific from a flight perspective.
Really?
It was because I was in the middle of the chair. I was next to some people. It was really, really tight.
Mm.
Coming back, they treated me so nicely. They actually let me get on the plane first. They
Hmm.
gave me one of those kind of comfort seats or whatever you call them. And so I got to stretch out. It was 15 hours going, 12 hours coming back.
Hmm.
And it was,
Straight.
yeah, straight.
Mm.
And I enjoyed the experience because I did wacky things like, how you could track the flight, like, as on the little screen, like where the track flight is going. I was
Mhm.
like, yo, we are near Russia. Like I was tracking these little, we're just a few miles from Russia. And
Yeah.
how far is South Korea from where we about to land?
Yeah.
And it's not the first long flight I've taken,
Oh.
but it was not my favorite. Going coming back, it was one of the best.
But
You
is
know,
it because of where they sat you and you were comfortable?
yeah. Like
Mhm.
I flew once from Qatar back to Atlanta because I was coming back from another place, and
Mhm.
that was 16 hours, and that was pretty good because I had an aisle seat, so I could put my left leg, which is my most prominent MS symptom leg, so
Mhm.
I could stretch out that left leg whenever I wanted to.
Mhm.
That made that flight very, very comfortable for me
Okay.
because I could, I was trying to plan it in a way that I know that it's going to be challenging. If I can't stretch out my left leg for 16 hours,
Yeah.
that's going to hurt. I'm going to have to get up multiple times to deal with that because that's where my main MS symptom is.
Yeah.
If you look at my leg, like I can feel all of the muscles in the quad of my right leg. I can't feel any of the muscles in my left leg,
In your
in
left
my
leg.
quad.
Hmm.
I don't. There's a physical. I can see a quad, but I can't actually feel any of the muscles in the leg.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's interesting because my left side is what bothers me, and I notice with a lot of people, they're saying their left side, and I was like, "What? Like that's a should research that. Why a
Mhm.
left side for a lot of people? Because is that the right side of our brain that the lesions are on? I don't know.
I know my lesions are many.
Really?
I have a book that I've written that'll be coming out soon,
Oh,
talking about it and the lessons I've learned based on the 40 lesions that I have on my brain.
yeah. You know the
And
number.
it is it's a massive amount of lesions.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to quantify them one way or the other. All I know is that my neurologist told me last time I went, he's like, "Oh, these lesions they don't go away, but they aren't growing." He said, "Oh, some of these are lower than they used to be."
Yeah.
And, part of it is just number one, trying to minimize the stress in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sharing this recently that being creative, I think, is helping my MS. I know it sounds crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but when I write a story, a play, or I get to direct a play, or I get to be in some level of theater or creative in any aspect, I think it helps my MS. I know it sounds weird physically,
It does not some. I mean, I'm the same way because even in doing this on the health side, I'm creative in what I'm in building the platform and what I post in designing things or whatnot. And I think that obviously then creativity is feeding. Um, it might be you might be stressed, but it's a different type of stress, um, and it's probably kind of therapeutic to you.
yeah.
Hmm.
I agree. I think that those of you who are handling something in your lives, you got to find that thing that touches your spirit,
Yeah, most definitely.
that keeps you going. Janine, I am so glad that you and I got to reconnect.
Hmm.
You, I don't think, I think I may have met one other person since I've met you, and I mean face to face, that has MS. I meet several people online and that kind of thing,
Okay,
but I haven't met that
face.
many people. However, when I tell people I have MS, there's a high likelihood that they know somebody who's had MS.
That's true. You know what? I think it might be the same way. People know somebody, except for when I went to the neuro PT, there were two people with MS in there.
Mm,
Well, I had to add, they didn't tell. Well, the one guy didn't find he was newly diagnosed. He was kind of struggling
mm,
with it. But that's because I was going to a neuro physical therapist.
yeah,
I don't know if I've ever I know people who tell me that they know somebody. I mean, I had to have met a couple of people, but no, not really. You were the first in the store.
oh wow,
I think sometimes people just don't admit it or say it. But I think I asked you or something because I saw you with the cane. And
hmm,
I look at people and how they walk or whatnot. I think everybody got that mess. And then
yeah,
some people might like this one woman who got arthritis or whatever. But I was like, I don't know. I think they might have MS or they have some sort of autoimmune or they don't even realize they never went to the doctor, but they not, I could tell maybe how they moving or whatnot. So,
yeah, you just don't know. I had a surgery on my left ankle. This is before I had MS,
mm-hmm,
and on my left ankle because my cartilage was supposedly something going on with my cartilage.
mm-hmm,
So I had a surgeon kind of reattach the cartilage in my left ankle.
mm-hmm.
And then I went to Australia on a boot. Somebody gave me a free trip to Australia, so I was like, I don't give a damn if I got a boot or not. I'm going to Australia. so, so I traveled with the boot all the way to Australia,
Uh-huh.
and that was an 18-hour flight, sort of, because you had to go from
Travel.
Atlanta to LA 4 hours, and then from 4 hours to Brisbane.
Okay.
And I just tell people like, hey, you got stuff like take advantage of this life. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I'm the same way. It's like just even for myself, I'm like, I, I'm appreciative because it could be a lot worse. Um, and and making this far. Um, it's something my dad said like when I was diagnosed, and I remember when I was diagnosed. Well, when they ruled out everything but MS, I was on my lunch break at Discovery. The neurologist was like, I ruled out everything but MS. I'm aggressive with it. I want you to see a specialist before I put you on any medication. And I remember going out to my car and I cried. I called my parents. I cried for like 5 minutes and then I was fine. And my dad said, "See, he's like, you're like me. You cry, you let it out. Now you're kind of better. You know what's wrong, and now you can work and I guess deal with it and whatever, nurture it or whatnot instead of not doing it and it just progressing or whatnot." So that's
Yeah.
why I'm just like I'm trying to enjoy. I still think I probably, I know I waited on things and I was work, school. Um, so I feel like I missed out on like living life, but I think it's just my personality. Like I could not just not like, hey, just fly by night, like whatever
That's right.
happens. Um, but definitely now, like that's my thing. It's like it's finding that balance and still doing like my purpose. Another thing I didn't even tell you, and I need to get too much stuff. Um, I'm a MS activist. So since I'm in DC and we're not a state, so I mean it's kind of like it's local and federal. So now I just got the federal MS activist, which I now need to start, I guess, contacting our Congress people on the federal level. So I think that's
Oh,
another thing that we should talk on. Um, so it's talking to the politicians and whatnot, and to advocate for people like us for certain things that we need, that we want, that we're lacking, that we're missing, all that type of stuff. So
I
I need.
would love to learn more about this. I started a public speaking group at my day life, and I also joined a team, a group of people who were around disabilities. Various disabilities, and it's interesting that sometimes I have to explain to people MS because it doesn't appear to them like other disabilities appear.
Yeah.
Right? They may see me a cane and say, "Oh, I mean, he's just an old guy walking with a cane." But then, like you asked me about it,
Hmm.
and I think people just don't understand it. They just think that, oh yeah, a disability has to be something that's evident. And many people we know with MS, they have different things. They have optic neuritis. They may
Yep.
have a significant cognitive degradation.
Yeah.
They may have challenges with just not just walking at all. They may their motor functions. It's a snowflake.
They think the disability is being in a wheelchair. I definitely had where people have come to me, or if I was somewhere and I'd be like, "Well, I have a disability or need whatever access," and be like, "You don't look disabled." I've gotten that a few times. I've gotten that at the airport because now I pre-board. I've realized I could pre-board, and I go
Hmm.
look and they want to see the thing. And if you get one of those the airport folks that feel a little froggy, and they be like, and I was like, no, and I was like, I can walk on, but I have MS. I shouldn't have to explain that, but because then outwardly, because if I don't have a cane or I don't have anything showing, they think I'm trying to get over.
Yeah, I pre-board all the time.
Yeah.
I once had an argument with somebody, and I was coming back from Jamaica, and they were like, "Oh, you don't look like it." I was like, "Dude, I'm getting on the plane early." I was like, I was like, he was just looking at me like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "No, I'm getting on the plane." Now, they were trying to prevent me from getting on this plane. It was packed. It was late, or whatever the plane was. I was like, "You have to let me come up." I was like, I was trying to get them. I was like, "Yo, if you don't let me on this, my name is Winston. I was born in this country,
And then
and I gotta get on this plane because I gotta get back to the United States of America. I don't care what you were saying." And he
exactly.
looked at me crossed, and I was like, "I don't care how you feel, man. Forget upon this plane." I was like, I don't care. I don't care what he was thinking.
That's that New
Yeah.
York for you too.
Yeah,
Getting on
it's it's interesting how that comes out at certain times, at
uh-huh.
certain point.
Real
It comes out when it comes out. People are like, "What?" I was like, "Yo," especially when somebody's trying to hurt somebody else. I'm like, "Nah, this ain't right."
yep.
You talking to a different Winston right now when you're trying to come on, trying to do something to somebody.
That is
Yeah.
crazy.
That's right. They were like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I got avatars, man." I ain't the same dude. Like when you trying to when I see somebody trying to hurt
Yep.
somebody. I was doing a theater thing once, and somebody came in and they said something to my cast that was negative.
Uh-huh.
I raised my voice so much you could hear the walls of the theater shake.
They're like, what?
My cast was like, "Who are you?" I was like, "Yo," I was like, "This dude trying to say something about you, my cast."
Yeah.
I was, I was like, I kind of lost it.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. You
Janine, you are so phenomenal. I would love to have you back on again, and I want to connect with you on the MS advocacy. If someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
so I'm on platforms, so TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under Soul, spelled SOUL, Flow, spelled FLO, holistic. Um, I think TikTok has the underscore at the end, but so it's at Soulful Holistic. Same for the website. So with the website that you're showing right now, there's this tabs that you can also go to the Soulful Travel and Soulflow Foundation. That's the nonprofit. I just it's fairly new the past few months. Um, Me and the board have been meeting. So basically, it's providing access, health and wellness access to underserved communities. Because I believe, I don't know if it's something with you. I like I say, meditation or massages or Reiki and all these things that cost a lot of money. Meditation not so much, but when you go to do these certain things to keep you healthy, it costs a lot of money. So we're looking to provide access to those type of things to the underserved community and education and whatnot, and hopefully eventually scholarships. So that is new. Folks can like donate now to that because that helps us in creating these programs. I'm going to start doing wellness circles, especially in DC. Would love to expand into the other states, but things that will provide people to come with sound therapy, which I'm getting certified in, meditation, Reiki, yoga, all those type of things, and even just like a community and a platform for people like us to just talk and be open and feel like we're not alone. You know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is so. Thank you so much for that. Everyone that's out there, you heard Janine and I talk about our journey today, and I'm so thankful for this, Janine. A lot of times I get on the podcast and I'm talking to people who don't have what we have,
Yeah.
and sometimes it takes a little bit of explaining to understand that how can you have a disease and still be a creative person and live like people just don't. Sometimes you got to like really try to let them know why it is important to be who we are,
Yep.
and that's why I love this conversation we had today.
Same here. I love
For those of you who are out there, the Courageous Creativity Show has been around for a long time now.
it.
And if you want to be part of this, please let us know. If you got any comments about what Janine and I talked about, please let us know. If you subscribe to the channel and whichever platform you're subscribing to, it allows us to let you know what's going on beyond just the conversations. So a lot of things that Janine talked about today, I'm sure that she'll share that and we'll have an ability to connect with you and let you know what those are.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important that you get down with us. This is a movement. It's a movement for us to understand that we were created by our creator, and whatever way you define your creator,
Yeah.
for us to be able to be unbelievably givers of our spirit and our talents. Whatever talent you have in your hands came from your brain first. So how do you do that and how you manifest that is massively important.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the last word to you, Janine, to share with our audience anything you'd like to share with them in regards to how they should consider going forward in their lives as individuals and as creative individuals.
Just do it. Don't second guess yourself. Um, what is it that they call, like, whatever, creative a paralysis. Like, um, just do it. If you don't wait. It doesn't have to be perfect. Especially, like, I don't know, the social media and posting and whatnot, and you're waiting for all these followers or all these these clients and whatnot. Just
Hmm.
put it out there and do it. Even podcast. Like, I want to start going out there and talking and whatnot. I don't have, like, you might be one person, or might not be anybody, but it'll eventually build. And if you have an idea, don't sit on it, don't wait, just do it. Just like what we said, you're not promised tomorrow.
That's
Like,
right.
enjoy life, no matter what you're going through. And if you are going through things, just make sure you talk to you're open and you have a support group or someone to talk to. um, if you don't, like, I'm somebody you can reach out to. I'm sure, Winston, you are too. um,
Yes.
and, just keep moving.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much, Janine. Thank you all for listening to us today. If you're listening to us today, you listen to us 2 months from now. Thank you for listening then. And we'll be back with another phenomenal